Now, I want to tell y'all one of these craziest stories I've heard, and I want to read y'all the article from MSN mixed with me a little bit. Um, I also want to say, man, people around the world, it's just listen to this story, man. I can't believe how dumb a mother would be, but this is about a guy who finessed women in sex scams, man, a fake psychologist that got life in prison for convincing online moms to sexually abuse their kids. An ex-car salesman from Michigan who spent hours upon hours at his home computer cajoling and even um, berating seven mothers to engage in sex acts with their young children was ordered by a federal judge to spend the rest of his life in prison. It's probably not a natural life, it's just a life sentence, but he'll be there for a long time. But the judge, a U.S. attorney, an aunt of two of the victims, and even the defendant acknowledged Wednesday in U.S. District Court in Detroit that many lives already have been devastated by Stephen Demink's actions. You are like a pebble tossed into a pond. The effects of your actions will not only ripple into the lives of my sister and her two children, but their children as well, said the sister of a mother charged in Indiana with molestation. When I think of the sheer horror, fear, and confusion they felt in their home that day, it makes me sick. But tell her sister that her sister is mainly responsible. He didn't put a knife or a gun in nobody's head. She was easily manipulated to do something she should have knew better not to do, okay? The Associated Press is not naming the women of their relatives to protect the identity of the children. The AP generally does not identify victims of sexual abuse. Demink pled guilty 5 months ago to 6 charges related to sexual exploitation. U.S. Attorney Kevin Mulcahy arrived for a life sentence. Demink of Redford Township, just west of Detroit, told Judge Gerald Ronson he could be rehabilitated. I am not unsalvageable. The 41-year-old Demink said, I think I can be a productive member of society without the court worried about me reoffending. I did not think of what consequences my actions were going to produce. I hope they can find it in their hearts one day to forgive me for what I have done. I need help when I want help. Rising, the judge was not convinced. He said, when I look at the devastation that has been reaped in so many lives, I have to conclude that this is a case that justifies a life sentence, Rosin said. Authorities accused Demink of trolling around the dating website singleparentmeet.com prior to April 2009 as Dalton St. Clair. With a fake profile photo and a contrived background, Demink chatted with hundreds of women, sometimes posing as a psychologist, according to the government sentence memorandum. Most ignored or chastised Demink when he sought nude pictures of children. The memorandum stated, but a persistent Demink found at least 7 women who succumbed to his desires. That's sick. For more than a year and through online chats, Demink at St. Clair persuaded the women to sexually assault their children who ranged from the age 3 to 15. One of the victims was autistic. Another, a female friend of a daughter of one of the women, had a past history of being sexually abused. The women were told the sex acts were a form of therapy for children. Marriage was even tossed up as a possibility to some if they complied with him. Image of the sex acts were sent to him via email or through a live web stream. These women are not victims. They certainly were manipulated by this man. Mulaki said Wednesday he is a man unique. The ability he has to manipulate people and get what he wants. He was the puppet master. Those mothers were the puppets, and that is BS. Those women were just as responsible. Who is dumb enough to say, hey, let me do something sexual with my children for a man on the internet on singleparentsmeet.com? Okay, authorities were alerted to the abuse in December 2009 when a 5-year-old boy in Idaho told his grandmother about his mother's action. The mother was sentenced in May 2010 to 7 to 20 years in prison for sexually assaulting her 3-year-old daughter. My children have been taken from me and my parental rights terminated, she wrote in a letter to the government. I knew what he was asking of me was wrong and I hated doing it, but I wanted him to like me. I did what he asked because I wanted to please him. The other 6 women also have been charged or indicted and a second has been sentenced to prison. I don't have much to say on that, man. That's one of the craziest things I ever seen. But you got master manipulators out here, and there's no doubt he's a manipulative, and there's no doubt that women out here can be manipulated, and men also can be manipulated, children, so on and so forth. It happens, but this right here is just a little bit overboard. You was an adult, you should know better to do sexual acts for a man that tells you to do it over the internet that you don't even know if he's a real psychologist, psychiatrist, or so on and so forth. Also, there's other, allegations. He told women that this makes you closer to your child, and they believed it. So there is just as much to blame, man, and they should have got equal sentence as him, or maybe just a little less. But 7 years, in my opinion, you should have got 20. Big 5.